Contra Costa County. And we can start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good. This is how I'm not going to be times. We need it here. No, we don't. We have a chair right next to you. Sue. Next to me. That way, if he gets out of line.
Miss Shirley, are you gonna lead for us, please? Yes, we always want school teacher to lead.
Please stand if you can, those that can, replace our right hand over the heart and face the flag. Okay. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It's an idea. It's much more. Say the California flag. You had to say a pledge to the Mexican flag. It's a horrible pledge. You don't want to.
Yeah. I won't even. So, starting off, before going into the treasurer's report, I want to welcome Ronnie. Could you stand up?
Hey.
Ronnie.
Our next victim is John Ferguson.
Yikes! Next victim. Uh-oh.
We're just to get them off too early. We're the easy part of your job.
Welcome. Maybe you just tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, well, Ronnie Mills, born and raised pretty much in Richmond, California. Went to El Cerrito High, Portland when it was still around, Fairmont Elementary. Currently live in Albany with my family, wife for 12 years and 2 children. My last adventure before joining Supervisor Joy's office was working with the Richmond Main Street Initiative. And so that was to help revitalize that downtown area, which has a soft spot in my heart because I remember, going up and down when Montgomery Ward was still around, a little bit further up McDonald than from downtown, but so I had a lot of fun in that area. I love local businesses. My wife is a small business owner as well in El Cerrito. And so I'm super excited to do it.
You seem to be a very fine musician.
Oh,
For those of us who Google you.
yikes. Yes, I also do a lot of work at my local church as a songwriter, musician. I've been doing music pretty much my entire life outside of, what I do here. And so it's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
He's good too, by the way.
Don't ask me to sing.
No.
Okay. I didn't bring my guitar.
If you do, I will.
Thank you.
Then we'll be done.
Well, thank you, sir, and welcome.
Thank you.
So, Ronnie, treasurer's report.
Do we have to
Oh,
do?
roll call, I'm sorry. So, why don't we start with the roll call?
Okay. One moment. I brought agendas for everyone except for myself.
Would you like to read from mine if you can't find it?
Yes, please.
And just be sure to give it back.
All right, Thomas Lang, I'm
Present.
awesome. Vice Chair Joyce Cleveland,
I'm here.
Susan Boudreau,
Yeah.
Jim Herman,
Present.
Dr. Melinda,
I'm here.
all right, Mickey Norris,
Here.
Tom Owens,
Here.
Shirley Rosenthal Winston,
Here.
awesome, and Emily Whalen.
Is not here. Yeah, I don't think I'm stepping over the edge to say that we have a forum.
You're on solid ground there.
On solid ground.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so our first item is the treasurer's report.
Yes,
$2,964.59.
yes, so it hasn't changed since the last meeting, so the same $2,964.59.
Okay. And so the first serious agenda item here is approval of minutes for June, July, and August. We've had some back and forth by emails and we've had some corrections. Can we take a vote on approving these minutes?
So,
I motion to take a vote.
Yeah, I'll second it. There are the corrections need to be noted in the record.
Okay.
In the meeting, so we know it's corrected.
George, would you like to go ahead and vote?
Well, what I found, I'm gonna go back to the June meeting, it's just mainly on who was there and who was not there, and the June meeting is missing Ms. Shirley. You're not, they don't even show you there. You were there?
I think I was there, I may have come in,
Well, they don't show you period.
Oh, okay.
It's like as if you don't exist, but you do exist.
okay.
So we need to add that to the present.
Sarah,
That was the only thing I saw.
No, and also I was not there, so please take me off that.
That's it, right, in June. That was in sister absent in June.
Yeah, we have it.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And I would, okay, I was.
All right, so, July, in July, again, Shirley doesn't exist, but she
Oh, so
was,
waiting room,
she was there,
in the waiting room.
so I remember that.
And I'm always happy to get you.
Oh, that was one of the, that was that.
Student host, okay. It's that way. I can help you do
And
that stuff.
August, we have Emily is absent, she was there, she showed up a little bit late, but she was there. So those are the only corrections that I saw. Just have to make sure we're ready, because I think at some point, I think somebody actually does or used to keep track of that members' attendance. Used to be it on the year end.
The year end.
Yeah, so we want to make sure it's accurate, so that's what I found.
So I noted there were also corrections in red text, but these need to be verbally noted.
Where did you see it?
I'm looking at my agenda.
Sorry, that's just, I don't know that that's just correction as it is.
Well, I'm ready to.
Yeah,
motion.
I think it was a correction, it was actually the notes.
So,
Anybody else find any corrections? Yeah, well,
I move to approve as corrected by Mr. Cleveland.
I'll second that motion.
good. All in favor? Okay, so we've got a unanimous vote for the minutes for June, July, and August. Sorry, Shirley, but
You are
so
here.
that this one,
I remember.
you will be your attendance.
Yes, you are here. We see you.
Okay,
You will not be forgotten in these minutes. This begins.
all right, so we've got some, we've got our 5 presentations. And we're starting off with the county update, Supervisor Joy's office.
Yes. So Supervisor John Joya and Federal Glover, as the board's equity committee, conducted interviews today for the 2 co-director positions for our new Office of Racial Equality and Social Justice. And the committee has scheduled to make appointments at next Tuesday's board meeting. We're planning a fire safety and wildfire community meeting soon with the fire district's new wildfire coordinator. And also we're planning a community meeting on the San Pablo Dam Road bike lane issue. This won't be an official MAC meeting, but it will be a community meeting sponsored by the Office of Supervisor Joy. Yes.
Did you say biplane?
Bike lane.
Bike
Bike lane.
She be careful, she speaks English.
I love it. I love it.
Actual English. Thank you.
I thought I heard biplane as well.
Bike lane? Oh, bike lane.
Bike
Okay,
lane.
there we go.
So, okay,
Yes.
oh, would you?
Yes, and so continue on, draft of the new general plan will be published within a few weeks. And we will send this out to the MAC and we'll schedule this item for future MAC meetings to get your input and the community's input on the new draft. And lastly, we received a proposal for a mural project here at the El Sobrante Library aimed at enhancing the library's visual appeal and fostering community engagement. So we'll be presenting a proposal to the library with the focus remaining around literacy and maybe also a secondary focus on aspects of the El Sobrante Library. So I printed out mural proposals that include the project summary as well as a rendering of the mural design. And so as there's no, as you may know or may not know, no public art policy for county buildings, it's going to be great for us to explore this aspect before.
Sorry. What? there's no public policy for this, so it's gonna be great to explore.
So I think
New ground.
since this is kind of a novel aspect, I thought it would be a good idea for the MAC to take a vote of support. Go ahead and present this to the library and indicate that we're really behind considering this.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay, all right, all in favor?
Well, before you say, Shirley had a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, this is wonderful, it's very picturesque, but it doesn't seem to have anything in there about El Sobrante.
Well, I think these are for proposal, just to
Oh, this is the
consider
proposal.
proposals.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and.
Can I make a quick comment about it?
Absolutely.
Yes, what happened is he proposed doing the Circle of Kindness. There's a nonprofit, new artist in town. They have a grant, it won't cost us any money at all to put it up. We will stipulate that they put some good graffiti code, clear code on it. The what's in the background was just a piece of clip art that I found. Just to give them an idea, and so the thing will be, those particular books are not what the design will be. The design will be the Circle of a Kindness in an open book and a bunch of books in the background, and I think that we can have some community input about what titles we want on the books, if we even want them to be titled. And then that's item one. Number two, there is a mural on the side of the bookhouse there. There's already a mural, so we do have a little bit of a precedent. And thirdly, the Orinda Library has a new mural. So the library is part of the same Contra Costa Library District. So there is already a precedent that there has been a mural, so.
And where? We're here at the library. On that wall.
Well, I don't know.
See, that's what I was trying to figure out. Where is there a blank wall that you can actually hang murals?
We'll really need the artist's input to see, because I mean, I suppose he could draw around windows.
Yeah.
Or if he could, paint around
Yeah,
windows or.
Because I was just kind of
Do it on
mentally walking around the building going, where do you put that?
Yeah, that
That's a question.
I'm not positive about, but it would be nice, honestly, I think, to have it where you can see it from the street.
From Abbey.
That would be
Ideal.
the nicest, but.
Will this also be pushing on the idea of having art displayed within the library from the community? Because I've talked to the manager about that. Would that be part of the same thing, the whole public art idea? Because I would love to see that happen too.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we're very supportive of art in the community.
I would think there would be two different tracks though, in
Yeah.
terms of, and because the manager makes that decision, and this is more of an external.
Right, but he's very supportive of the idea of this mural on the outside.
So I think what we can do is, Ms. Shirley has had a chance to weigh in, as have others of us, and I think we can take a vote to give our support to moving forward with considering this and discussing it and. Yeah, so,
Oh, wow.
all in favor?
I'd like to see some band. Exactly.
So what I can do is, I'll write an email to John Joya. And just say that in the meeting, MAC gives its support, and it will show up in the minutes. For the concept. Okay, so anything further from Supervisor Joya's office?
I have a question for him.
Oh, go ahead.
Is there any update on Wildcat Canyon Road? Anything happening with it?
So to my knowledge, no, but I can definitely follow up
Okay.
just to see where that
I've
is.
been being asked that question quite a bit.
Pablo Dam Road, outside your, near to you, the big old,
Oh, the whole,
the whole,
The
is that
whole-
Pablo?
oh,
Dam
that's
Road?
different.
That's a different, yeah, that's a different hole in the
I know
call.
that, but I think people would also like an update on if and when that's.
It looks like they were working on it.
They were not.
Well, there's now about 3 other places that are bigger dips than the dip.
No, I'm not talking about the dip. I'm
Oh.
talking about
See, we know where it's.
Oh, I know.
It looks like they were starting to work on it yesterday and today. One last small question. So we were in the process of getting name badges for this MAC, and that now is transferred to your to-do list.
It has, yes.
Yeah, okay. Any idea what's happening with that?
I'm still waiting on the quote to get
Come
that,
back.
but that, but yeah, to get
Okay.
that started, but I'll put that on my items to follow.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Is there a date for the community meeting about the bike lane or the biplane?
It's every day.
No, not yet, but yeah.
Let's grab everyone's attention.
I'd like to know, is there a mailing to the general list about our MAC meetings? To alert the public about it, because we'd like to get more, I personally welcome community involvement and participation and more people to come to the meetings and attend us and give us their input of what they'd like to see in our Sobrante. So I'd like to know, how are people being communicated with on that? About to give them notice about it? I mean, I do,
Yeah.
I put a next door thing and I don't know how many people actually see it, but.
We get the email that comes out that Ronnie sent out, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that that's a blast that goes quite wide.
Yeah, we do send the email newsletters out, if your question is referring to physical mailings.
No, but it's just, I know, I've seen newsletters, but before we have the meetings, okay, is there a blast to the public about the agenda and the Zoom link and the whole thing?
Yes,
Specifically,
yes,
Yeah.
it's not to the general public, but to people that have subscribed to us, because it's against the law for us to, just kinda-
spam.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a way to expand that list.
So does supervisor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but does Supervisor Joya have a Facebook page for
He
this?
does, and he posts to it.
And this gets posted in the Facebook, the MAC meetings get posted in the Facebook page?
I'm unsure on that, but I can follow up just to see if that can be put on there.
So I understand that they're going to have an email sign up
Mhm.
for at the stroll.
Yes.
At the MAC booth and John Joy's thing. So I'm glad to see that, because I really feel like we need to make a better outreach to the public.
I've requested it in the past. Could we have a posting in the library on community bulletin board here?
In regards to the MAC,
The agenda and maybe dates that we meet.
yes, there actually should be the
There's a
agenda
bulletin over
currently.
there, but it's not posted.
Oh, well, I personally brought it in about a week ago, so.
So.
Okay.
It's a good idea. I mean, that electronic signboard, a lot of people see it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can definitely,
And then just to tell everybody that you meet, that we meet at on the same time and date, every
Mhm.
month, second Wednesday, of the month in this facility, at 7 p.m. Second Wednesday, I think it's almost Wednesday. Okay, it is, second Wednesday, here, 7 p.m., always.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think we could probably move to the next agenda item.
Running
Yes,
go, Tom.
all right. Well, I think later. Okay, so, well, maybe that is that's actually a good thought. So that is a county issue. So one of the things that we've discussed in the past here is development, in the recent past, is development of a noise ordinance, and apparently that's something that has its legislative subtleties, legal subtleties. Is there any update on that?
no update, but I can add that to my list of follow.
It's a big deal on next door.
Yeah.
Everything's a big
It's a-
deal.
But I understand that. I mean, you can go into the.
Next door is excuse.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does.
next door.
I understand that.
Right.
Yeah, I also.
It's very dismissive.
So,
To say something like that.
Thank you,
When we are being,
thank you.
our piece of is being.
Ma'am?
Thank you.
So what I think is we will have an open agenda item, and so all the community members who have concerns about noise, everybody has 2 minutes to get up and give their perspective. And
What is the protocol for the public to get an item under discussion?
so for the public, we have open agenda. That means you don't have to register or do any, anything like that. At the open agenda item, you just raise your hand, you're recognized, you have 2 minutes to present your.
you can
I
also
think
approach
they
any back member and ask for it.
I don't know your names, I don't know your contact information, how is this getting
We have a
disseminated?
web page.
You do,
We do have a web page with all of our emails and everything.
how do we access that?
Just go to if you go to Supervisor Joya's website and look for the El Sobrante Municipal Advisory Council, you'll see all of our names with our contact information.
Thank you.
And I'll give you a card right now.
Marcia?
How do we get that noise ordinance back on the agenda?
I think that's what we're asking for again, because we did it last meeting, and we're gonna have to do it every meeting until we get some action.
Yes, so that is gonna be.
And I was kind of surprised to learn that it wasn't on this agenda.
Well, we had it on the last agenda, and we, clearly it's an ongoing concern, so we can put it on the next agenda. So what we'll do is we'll add it to upcoming agenda.
Yeah, is it time to talk about the noise ordinance or wait till?
Let's wait.
So we'll wait until open agenda, because
Like it means public comment.
open agenda is public comment. And so we'll wait until that, folks who would like to speak about their situation and perspective and give their spiel. But the official part would have been Supervisor Joya's office presentation. That won't be.
Yeah, tried all that.
Okay, so. I think we can move to the next agenda item, which is the fire protection district update, and we have Chief Peter here.
Good evening. Happy to be here on behalf of our fire chief, Lucas Bouchard. My name's, can we stand up?
Yeah, maybe they
Sure.
can see.
My name's Jeff Peter. I'm one of the assistant fire chiefs in the communications division. So I run the regional communications center, the IT shop, another telecom team. So anyways, I just wanted to give you all a brief update on some of the progress, recent events in the fire district. Taking this up the fire chief September 12th, report to the county board of supervisors. Over the last year, the fire department's had a lot of growth, opened some additional companies. We took over contracted fire services for the city of Pinole and reopened Fire Station 74, which is a huge benefit out west, with the assistance of Major X funds. We have a federal grant that opened a fully staffed rescue company that could service anywhere in the entire county. It's Rescue 86 out of our Bay Point station. And then we put a new truck company, Truck 92, out east. And so we kind of stabilized, which is good. We've had some additional chief officers promoted in different divisions. So we're at a point where we've stabilized some of our growth and are really focusing on training current employees, new hires, and folks that are promoting the organization. Recently, probably all heard about the San Pablo hazardous material incident. That ended up being a multi-agency response. We went in unified committee with San Pablo PD, and it was a 3-day round-the-clock hazardous material remediation incident with some explosives and a bunch of other chemicals and items that were stored in a residential structure in the shed. It's been there for years. And our crews discovered the problem on another check that was called in by neighbor. So great teamwork between County OES, Red Cross, San Pablo PD, the Alameda County Bomb Squad assisted us, FBI, Contra Costa County Hazardous Material Team, and the State Department of Toxic Substances and private industry. So pretty significant hazmat incident that was mitigated successfully, fortunately. We also had a significant fire in the city of Pittsburgh on August 12th, a commercial fire. Crews did a great job. That was 3 full alarms to put that fire out. In our growth over the last year with some additional companies, we also opened Station 4 back up in Southern Walnut Creek. That's just given us more capacity countywide, so that we have a significant incident west, central, or the eastern part of the county, we can move other resources to better cover the gaps when we have our major incidents. Fortunately, we've been relatively slow on the wildland fire front. We've certainly had our fires during this year. We're not out of the woods yet, but you never know when the fire weather brings with relative humidity, winds, and temperatures, we can have a problem. But really statewide, California's been very fortunate this fire season. So let's hope that continues. Fire season's never really over in California. We need to all remember that. Let's see, our training division has done a bunch of training. We just completed mass casualty training for all of our employees, whether it be an intentional mass casualty like active shooter incident or a school bus that might be involved in an accident on the freeway. So our folks are all refreshed on that. Our EMS division is continuing to work on our ambulance response system, trying to figure out how we can make it as efficient as possible. The demand on our system continues to rise. It's really tough to hire paramedics anywhere in California. So every fire department in this state is struggling with that issue. And we're struggling with what's called an APOT times at hospitals, where we transfer our patients out of the ambulances onto a gurney and an emergency room. Hospitals are overwhelmed as well. So we're actually going to be implementing some basic life support units in central and eastern county, not in western county. But that'll provide help, should provide help to the entire county. That will occur on September 19th.
What's that called again?
What's that?
What was that called again?
We're implementing the use of basic life support ambulances. So basically there's 2 EMTs instead of a paramedic. Our paramedic on the engine company will still assess the patient, but in many cases they'll go on a BOS ambulance to the hospital. The end goal is that we keep more of our advanced life support for paramedic ambulances available for more acute patients. And that's in coordination with the county's EMS agency. Let's see, Fire Prevention Bureau has secured a grant to change out all of our Knox keys in all the cities we service to an electronic key system, which is a code, which is a great enhancement, so that we don't have mechanical keys for every different city. The grant replaces the grant will help replace part of the plan. Let's see, we're still working on a shaded fuel break in the Lafayette Walnut Creek area, Rossmore in that area, to protect that area in the event of a wildfire. And our PIO, Steve Hill, retired recently. So we've redistributed some of those assignments to other folks in the organization. Chris Toller, Captain Toller's on the meeting. He's one of our, basically our lead PIO, coordinating a group of people that are handling our PIO needs at this point. Let's see, in my shop, the communications division, we recently hired a fire communications manager after about a 20-month vacancy. She comes to us from southern San Francisco area, comes with great experience from the police and a fire center, so she's been a great help. We just hired 3 new fire dispatchers, all with significant experience. They're still in training, but their learning curve will not be that steep, so that's fortunate for us. And then we're continuing to prepare for basically it's a brand new comm center at our 210 Erie Road site in Pleasant Hill, which is where the regional communications center is. So we'll expand from 13 dispatch consoles to 16 brand new server room, open consoles, and it's a much overdue need for the fire district. The communication center serves about 1.2, 1.3 million people countywide.
So citizens will see that their calls are answered more quickly, is that what we'd see?
No, not necessarily. It'll give, we answer calls based on the NFPA standard already, so they already do a great job. It's just we need a new facility, we need a new server room, better technologies, more stable infrastructure in terms of IT, air conditioner systems, just the facility itself. And it does provide us the ability to add more staff as we continue to see more calls. Let's see, what else? The district is exploring electric vehicle charging equipment at our new stations that we build. We'll be adding a charging station at the comm center when it's remodeled. And we're continuing to struggle, everybody nationwide struggling with how long it takes to have a fire truck or a fire engine build. It's now about a 3.5 to 4 year lead time. And prior to COVID, we were looking at 14 months to have a fire truck built. And it doesn't matter what manufacturer or what fire department. So that's a pretty tough situation. Same thing with the ambulances. So we're trying to order equipment in advance so that we're not waiting for it.
Do we know why it's so much longer now for the pandemic?
In general, the supply chain issues, chassis issues, motor issues, labor issues. Yeah, it's really becoming a challenge.
And you can't find paramedics either, and that's a whole other issue.
Yeah. Let's see, and then we are planning on new construction of Fire Station 90 in the city of Brentwood. And then also Fire Station 94 in the city of Brentwood. And that's all part of improving the fire protection out in the East County. And that is all I have, unless there's any questions.
Okay, any questions?
Does the fire department offer any CERT training?
Yeah, we do have CERT training, CERT program, and
What is it?
It's a citizens emergency
Response training.
Yeah. So yeah, in the county and the fire department together, there is a CERT program.
And we can take it. How can we access it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ms. Sherman?
I believe it's on the county's website, the OPS website, Office of Emergency Services.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Who do you contact if you have a residential property next to county property and the county property is in the high fire zone? Who would you contact to have the county clean up their fire hazard area? Right off the dam road.
Okay, on our website, Contra Costa County Fire Protection District's website, you can report a concern. And then, so there's a link on our webpage, and our folks will come out and inspect it. You also could contact our supervisor for if you have concerns as well.
Questions from the community for TQ?
Well, after the San Pablo incident with the Kim's, all that stuff, was that stuff transported somewhere and then safely detonated? Because there was a lot of like loud booming sounds right after that happened, and people were speculating what that was. And so was there a place that some of that stuff was taken somewhere by Rumrail or off of Richmond Parkway?
I don't know the exact details. It was an active incident, but
Is there a
combination of,
facility place that?
well, what we first do is we assess the hazard. And if there's a lot of different chemicals or explosives, maybe one container's leaking on the horizon, that dictates whether we can safely transport it or not. Not we, but a hazardous material transport company. I believe some was detonated on the site because it's safer to do that. There was notifications that went out, public messaging. But any material that is safe to transport off-site was transported off-site to hazardous waste facilities. But I don't know where.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cause there was just so many loud sounds and we couldn't figure out, the neighbors couldn't figure out what actually was going on.
Yeah, in some cases, it's safer to detonate explosives than try to move. If it's very safe.
Thank you.
Since you're on the communication team, I'm just wondering, we're now facing quite a few problems of, the hidden homeless in hillsides along San Pablo Road. And that's interjurisdictional, meaning it's El Sobrante, it's Richmond, it's San Pablo. So they start a lot of fires. And when those are called in, are the dispatchers really clear about who to send? Or there was a problem a few years ago where the dispatcher didn't know who to send because they're cheek to jowl, just the jurisdictions are right next to each other.
So we dispatch for everybody in the county except San Ramon Valley and the city of Richmond. So out west, yeah, we work closely with the city of Richmond Police Dispatch Center, who also dispatches their fire rigs. And we can see each other's what they're doing and we have common communications. So no, really, we pin the address, the reported address, we get a good address. We don't always. And then if it's questionable, maybe it's in Richmond, or maybe it's in Contra Costa's responsibility area, we'll co-communicate between the two comm centers. Oftentimes we'll say the response is needed. But yeah, we're on the same page and trying. And we don't really worry about where the call is, whose jurisdiction. We set it up, right? I mean, sort the details out.
Okay. So, thank you very much for your presentation and thank you and the Fire Protection District for everything you do. Keep us safe.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, next on the agenda, we have Lieutenant Rodriguez from the Contra Costa Sheriff's Department. He will bring us on Zoom.
Hi, good evening, guys. You guys hear me? All right.
Yes.
Good, good. I'll start off just with the monthly reports, and then we'll get into some discussion as to some of the events that are taking place. For the calls for service for the month of August, we had 685 in El Sobrante. Of those reports, we took 69 that actually came in as reports. And then for our crime stats, our 3-month select crime trends, for the month of June, we had 15. The month of July, we had 19. And in August, we were back to 15. We had 4 court order violations in August, those being restraining orders, both civil and domestic. We had 3 domestic violence incidents and then 2 vandalisms. Some of the vandalisms that we're seeing, one of the most recent ones actually this week, and it's been really prevalent down in North Richmond, but it's occurring in other areas of the county. I know Pittsburgh and Bay Point and Antioch are all having the same problem. Folks have resorted to stealing telecom cables, so they're cutting the AT&T. Well, depending on the provider, some of the ones down in North Richmond have been AT&T. I believe the most recent one, which was in El Sobrante off of Castro Ranch Road, was AT&T as well. And they're cutting the telecom wire and then going and stripping the metals out of it and turning those into a recycler. So one of the hazards associated with that is some of these lines obviously are utilized for infrastructure for some of the businesses. So I know specifically in some of the discussions I've had with Supervisor Joya's staff, as well as AT&T staff and some of the victims of these crimes, it's affecting their business because some of them are online businesses or online orders. And you can imagine if they don't have the telephone lines, then that they're going to be impacted. I have gotten some updates on some cases that have been reported, and I'll share some of those updates as at next month's meeting. But I got this information passed on me from Detective Duran today, and just based on the nature of the investigation, I'm not at liberty to share anything beyond that. But I will say that there's been a few cases that are being closed. One neighboring your guys' jurisdiction is he advised me today of some residential burglaries. They were able to get a filing on a person that they have in custody that was related to two residential burglaries in East Richmond Heights. And that same suspect was associated with a number of burglaries in Oakland. So that's good news. Other things that we have going on, we still continue to have trainees in the field training program. We're moving into phase 3. So this group should be coming off of training with about the next month and a half, which will help us with our staffing and patrol and continue to fill the staffing. As you guys remember, in July, we went to a 7-beat system across the 5 different shifts, which means that there's 7 deputies, not including resident deputies, assigned to the shift, which allows the deputies to stay more proactive and reduce the amount of time it takes them to get to calls or cover each other. So that's a positive. So far, most of the group seems to be doing well. In terms of events, we will be staffing the Sobrante stroll this Sunday. So we'll see additional deputies coming out as well as supervisors to staff that event so that we don't have an impact on the regular beat assignments that are out there and the supervisors that are assigned for those beats. So we're looking forward to that. And Ronnie, I will be forwarding you these monthly reports as well as the ones from July. I know there was a request at last month's meeting for those numbers. So those reports will be coming your way. And I'll be firing that email off at the end of this meeting tonight. Any questions for me at this time?
Okay, questions from the council for Lieutenant Rodriguez? Okay, questions from the community?
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your presentation. And we appreciate everything you guys do to keep us safe.
Yep. And one more thing, Tom, before I move on, I don't want to forget, I did have a discussion. I know at last month's meeting, there was discussion in regards to the wildfire risk assessment that was put together by SOS and provided. So I've had discussions with staff from COM Fire, staff from Richmond's Fire Department, as well as some of the partner agencies like Code Enforcement and Environmental Health Services. Just so everyone's aware, I know I shared it at the last meeting. Some of the challenges with that, as far as the risk posed by the encampments, the wildfire risk posed by the encampments, are that regardless of the agency that's going out there to move these folks along, there is certain case laws that are in place that require certain things be met. One of those things being we have to be able to coordinate and ensure that we have housing or we're able to offer them some sort of assistance and not just simply moving them somewhere else. I know one of the recommendations was to move them to an area where there's a lower risk of wildfire danger. Some of the challenges with that are who has the authority to say that those folks could be on that property or in that new area that they're going to be moved to, unless it's private property and that person is granted their permission to stay there. That's one of the challenges that's being posed. But with that being said, I have had some discussion. I spoke with O'Neill today regarding this, and there will be a meeting in the next week or two, hopefully with Supervisor Joya's staff and the partnering agencies to continue to work on this matter. So just want to let everybody know, kind of give you guys an update as to where we're at with that. It is being addressed. Yeah, we'll go from there.
Good. Well, thank you, sir, very much for your update. And again, appreciate everything you do for us here in the community.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
So I'd like to, for the next agenda item, I'd like to welcome President of the El Sobrante Chamber of Commerce.
So I guess you guys had some,
If you move over here, they might be able to see you better.
okay, so I guess you guys had some questions about garbage cans.
Well, but maybe I think it would be good for everybody to get. It would be good for everybody to get your kind of your bird's eye view of what the chamber does in the community and mention the stroll.
Well, yeah.
And all the other great community events at the great chamber.
Our big event, and we're single-mindedly focused on that right now. We exist to promote the business community, and what that does, a strong business community is a strong community. And basically what we do as a chamber, and what we're planning to do a lot more of, is we do events to get people to congregate in our business area of town. El Sobrante, in my mind, is very well suited for the middle of the 20th century. And our goal now is to get it more suited for the middle of the 21st century. In other words, to make it less dependent on cars, to where, you know, that we've got mixed zoning right now where people could actually buy some of these old buildings and put apartments above, retail down. And we want to do a lot more of that. We want to do a lot of events that bring the community together. For example, and what we really want to do is have outreach to our communities, diverse communities. El Sobrante is a very diverse area. We have a lot of culture, and we want people to share their culture. As an example, I have some friends who are in two men that are married to each other, and they called and asked about if we would have El Sobrante Pride. And I've gotten them, they are ready to form a committee, and because, you know, we're just a small band of volunteers and we can't do everything. And so we are planning to have an El Sobrante Pride this coming year, the date to be determined. We don't want to do it when Pinol's doing it or San Francisco's doing it.
Or
Well, Oakland does it a different time of year. We want to do it in June. Oakland does it in September. So, you know, June is Pride Month and we want to stick in June. Absolutely.
and put me on there.
Absolutely. If you guys,
Oh, Nicole knows who I am.
I know how it is. I don't think we can, but George click on it. Okay. Yes, that's, and it's Michael and Clayton Price Brown are the two people
I
who
don't know that.
you don't know.
Looking
them.
forward to getting to know them.
They're worth knowing. They're very, very delightful people. So yes, we would like that. I'd also like to reach out to like the Sikh community, and where we're going to have most of our events to start with is in the library and this whole area out here. Kind of where we do our Earth Day and that stuff. And as we outgrow that, we'll deal with it at that point in time. So the stroll really is our big thing. And the other thing that I'm very excited about are murals, and I think you guys saw the first mural. I think it's a resounding success.
Yes. 100%.
I'm famous for my painting of grass because I'm the world's worst artist, and there were these animals that were floating, so the little grass underneath.
The grass master, now we know.
Exactly. And then do you guys want to hear about garbage cans?
Yeah.
I know it was a concern, people. Okay. So basically what happened is that first the tops disappeared. Then the liners disappeared. The liners are Rubbermaid or something like that. They're garbage cans basically, and people took them. And then people were dumping household garbage there. And then when Public Services said, you don't have liners, we don't service garbage cans without liners. And it was determined after speaking with Republic Services where they've had situations similar to ours where garbage cans were removed. And a removed garbage can actually attracts less garbage, unauthorized garbage, than a garbage can that's not being serviced. And so this is not our end goal. Our end goal is to, with the office of John Joanne, to get Public Works and the county to be responsible for the garbage cans. The way it was set up is the chamber somehow, it was before my time, but we somehow ended up being responsible for these garbage cans. We ended up owning these garbage cans, and I think that's overstepping our boundaries. I don't think the chamber should be the ones that own the garbage cans. I think it should be the public. I think it should be Public Works that deals with putting the garbage cans, getting garbage cans that perhaps can't be taken apart and have parts stolen. And in the goal, and thank you, Ronnie and office for making it happen, but the goal was to get them removed completely before the stroll because it is a health hazard the way it was.
Yes.
We don't want disease and rodents and things like that. And so for the time being, we will live without garbage cans. Merchants will have their own garbage cans, and we're just gonna have to live with it. There were also a few of them got hit by cars. Some of them were vandalized, graffitied. I mean, they were. I'm grateful that they were removed, and we welcome any assistance or ideas that you guys have to get some sturdy garbage cans that can't be vandalized that will be serviced by
The Republic
public
will
service. That they'll take care of.
So Solano Stroll and Solano has cans that we should definitely look at. They're very sturdy.
Yeah, and we are good friends with the Solano Stroll. I was there this weekend, and the last hour or so, they had me in a yellow vest getting people out of the streets so they could reopen the streets. And they must have seen me with that little "will work for food" sign, because they took me out to a nice Thai dinner. All the volunteers got taken out, so. Yes, but they're kind of our big brother. We can learn from them. So did anyone have any additional questions? Yes, Mickey.
Yeah, so will are you encouraging the businesses along San Pablo Dam Road and Happy Way to put out some kind of trash bin that they could dump in their own bins for the time being?
I don't think we've really reached out to them on regular days. As far as the stroll is concerned, we want lots of, and there will be temporary cans out there.
Maybe they could do that, encourage them to
Yeah,
do something until we get something.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how we want to handle that, because what we don't want to encourage are people bringing household garbage and dumping it in their garbage cans. I mean, we didn't want it in the public cans, and we don't want it in private cans either. It does bring me to one thing. We also have those very nice planters, and those also belong to the chamber and were put in front of, but there were the businesses were supposed to maintain them. It was like, we're going to give you these $1,000 flower pots and you have to maintain them. And some of the businesses have, most of them have not. And that's another thing that we'd like to try to get some good plants in there and teach them how to maintain them. And I don't think Dorcas is around that much anymore. But
So can we also get, I don't know if the chamber can ask for this, or who do we ask to get trash cans at the bus stops? All over the.
That seems like.
would that be the county, or would that be
AC Transit.
the transit?
It sounds like it would be both, because it's the county land, but it's the transit stop, and thank you for your report, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you think could reach out to AC Transit and see what?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, Ronnie can look into that for us.
Okay, unrelated to the garbage cans. I'd like to know what the chamber is doing to try to attract more interest in businesses rather than like auto shops and tire shops, things like that.
Well, at this point, we are encouraging all of the businesses that belong to the chamber or what we're trying to do is help them promote. We do email blasts for them. We'll do videos for them. They'll have links to their websites on our site. I mean, those are some benefits of being a member of the chamber. In addition, the Association of Realtors is doing a video about Contra Costa County, and they approached me about some things that, I told them about the stroll, about the parklands that we have around here, the bicycle community, the equestrian community, the mural projects that we have going. So we'll see what kind of video, how we will show up on their promotional video. In addition, the company that I work for, I do have a day job, has a good marketing department, and if I, in my free time and maybe with some help from other people, put things together, they will help make something really smooth and nice. And we really do want to get rid of the vacancies, because commercial vacancies don't help anybody. And we also do not want any more automotive
Related businesses.
in El Sobrante. I mean, I'm not real happy about a fourth tire shop in town that's coming in where El Sobrante Town Garage.
Oh my gosh, another one?
Another tire shop, Jose Velarde, is got evicted. El Sobrante Town Garage got evicted from their longtime location. Yeah, I believe they're moving to
Just up the street,
just up the street.
4350.
But it's still sad that that had to happen, and for another tire shop. I think you guys and us, the chamber, were successful as far as with the old Adachi place, dissuading the gas station developer from developing yet another gas station, and
Yet it took us 5 months, even then,
Yeah.
even with all your help, it took us 5 months to wear that guy down.
yeah,
But you did it.
And John Joya
But
had to just go full court press.
it worked.
It worked, but it's hard.
well, and reality is that when you have automotive, you have contamination, we have enough contaminated soil. And in 100 years, not that we're gonna be around to worry about it, but hopefully people will be around and they won't be using fossil fuels.
God help us.
Well, I mean, I guess from having sat through, so many MAC meetings, there's just like a general yearning in the community for businesses like cafes and bookstores and places where people can
We'll
gather,
congregate
gardens
together
and stuff like that. And if there's anything that we can do as a chamber to just say, look, if you have this type of business, you're gonna have the whole community patronizing you.
Absolutely, and we'll
successful.
promote them, we'll do ribbon cuttings, throw grand opening
But
parties.
not just that, I mean, it's just that literally they would be full of customers because people want that here.
So it also strikes me this 2040 plan that's about to come out. We did a whole lot of mixed use in lots of different places. We all said, let's do that. And when you want mixed use, then you've got to talk to housing developers, and people have to be willing to have more housing. And so if we could work with nonprofit and or other housing developers who would do mixed use, like all the way down Appian, there's still vacant spaces on Appian between here and Valley View. That could become a pedestrian corridor between what we're doing and the library. That could become an entire area where, and there's enough empty land there that if we did mixed use, we could begin.
And we are mixed, it is mixed use now.
I know, we've marked it for that.
Yeah.
And so the people we need to talk to are not just business owners, but housing developers. In my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the businesses come in because there's a space that's been built. That's got already people living in it.
And if the housing developers incorporate into their designs spaces for businesses.
Well, they have to, because we've said it's mixed use. So, cause, I think it's easier to sell a cafe to somebody when they already know, for example, they're on the ground floor of a building that's got, X number of people in it. And an area that's gonna start to get foot traffic.
Absolutely.
So this is great stuff. It would be good if, go ahead.
Yeah, so
We had some, you know, as part of the green team here, my green team has, we have, several businesses, I can't name them right now, but that don't seem to do a very good job of cleaning up around the properties. And I was wondering if there are some pressures, is that from the chamber that they could put on them to be better partners with the community to clean up their parking lots and various areas that are being trashed out?
I'm sure that we're very open to suggestion, I mean, between Marie and myself and, you know, whoever else.
If they're chamber members.
You know, you
A lot
can
of them
send
are
people
probably chamber
email
members.
and-
Okay, so when we,
Um,
when these
Have an
people, there's a
offline
lot of
conversation.
green team people online here though, but if there is a way that we could just, if we identify something, send it to you and you could communicate with me.
yeah, and maybe we can even try to do something fun, because that actually brings me, or reminds me about something else that we're doing with the stroll this year. And that is, we are having a photo contest. And basically, we want people to take pictures of the stroll. You know, things that they see. I think the winner's probably gonna get a bicycle upside down or something. But, you know, try to get good pictures and upload them.
Of course.
And so, well, we're gonna have a contest with prizes for, you know, the best photos. I'm thinking that maybe we can have, we do have business of the month. Which is something, but maybe we can like spiff it up and do something special for. You know, I'm welcoming ideas, I mean, it's, you know, it's where we can kind of, you know, give a prize for the most improved parking lot, I don't know.
Oh, that's good, that's good.
But in the meantime, if you do see people that could be encouraged to keep their area a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I can talk to Isaac. Do you guys know Isaac? I haven't seen him recently. Isaac is this gentleman who walks down the street and he's a little bit strange, but he picks stuff up. He made my art garden in front of my office. And he likes to pick things up and pick weeds and just pick his way up the street. And the thing is, the reason I get better service is I usually have a $20 bill in my pocket and say, wow, Isaac, thank you very much. I sure appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
And so I get a little bit, that's why my parking lot doesn't get too
Yeah.
too horrible, but.
Maybe there's a way that we could certify some of these businesses as good partners. If they do take, and they could put a poster in their window that they're a good, you know, community partner with us, you know, and are taking responsibility for the.
Rather than public shame.
Rather than, yeah, that's actually a good idea, rather than public shaming, public recognition for being good.
Yeah.
You know, my children's preschool teacher always said, catch them being good, give them attention for being good, ignore them when they're bad.
So I
Yeah.
was thinking,
And there's one other thing, sorry. One other thing, and we've talked about this in the past, is the idea of some kind of bulletin board for the community, space, you know, like if we can. Even maybe a digital sign where we can announce different things or something for the community. It's so hard to communicate with everybody here, that it would be nice to have a place where people know that they can go and get some good information. And
You ever tried to permit a sign?
or just even a digital sign. I mean, I.
No, especially, I know, I mean, I'm just telling you, Vicky,
Yeah.
the county is gonna be your problem.
so I was thinking this might be, we have Nicole here. This might be a good time for attendees from our community to weigh in with any questions they have for Nicole.
As a concerned citizen and part of the green team, one of my concerns is that the whole garbage can issue is gonna slip through the cracks and we're not gonna get it resolved. And so I really want to go on record to say that if we can't get the businesses to help with that, then we need some intervention because all the communities have garbage cans for people, and I understand about people dumping and all that, but we have to start over again and make a new design, but please don't let it just go that we don't have anywhere to put things, because I clean up, we all clean up, and we don't wanna be the ones to clean up because.
You know, and actually, you guys will be the first ones, you'll be like the first ones that'll notice. Is it better, is it worse, is it the same, and we'd appreciate feedback right away when that stuff starts getting discovered. Yes.
And I think some of the household garbage might be coming from the home. Just,
Okay.
just trying to, police their area and, with no garbage cans around. It just gets piled up and then the green team gets charged with driving around picking up bags.
Yeah. And it felt, I was offended at last month's meeting, I was one of those ones, because it felt like the chamber just made a decision without any like input from us or the community, and so I'm really happy you're here, and thank you very much for.
Very welcome. We definitely want a clean, healthy community, and it was at this point an act of desperation, like we have a stroll going on, there's garbage coming out of there, and I think at the very least, there should be garbage cans at the bus stop. Period.
So Judy Weatherly from one of our online attendees has a question. Judy, you unmute yourself. Judy Weatherly,
Yeah.
there she is.
Hi, sorry, it wasn't actually a question about this situation, as for the open mic later on. It's an issue in our neighborhood, which is, I'm actually in Richmond and the issue is in El Sobrante. So, we can wait to talk about it after you finish, with the chamber.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This is why I didn't quite.
It's an issue, it's a neighborhood issue, that's not the issue, what you're talking
Oh,
about.
no,
okay.
okay.
So I thought it was.
Different issue.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, please.
El Sobrante, I've lived here 30 years. El Sobrante is never gonna be Solano Avenue or Mill Valley or, any cute little town. So we have to have some identity, other than that we're just a bunch of individuals who, keep to ourselves. And when Thrift Town was here, there were not ads, but there was a reputation that was all, even in Mill Valley and even in places that are kind of upscale, that if you wanted really to have some interesting finds, come to El Sobrante, come to Thrift Town. And every time I ever went there, I found treasures, not just junk. And it was an uplifting experience. It wasn't like a depressing place. There wasn't anything negative about it. So why did that go out? And can we get something like that back?
Well, we'd have to find a thrift store and thrifting is a big thing. I mean, my daughter, I don't even know if she knows how to buy new clothes. She thrifts.
Well, like the Buffalo Exchange is a thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
of
we
course,
actually,
Buffalo
we just had 3 of those kind of places that weren't junk shops, that were really, interesting places to find vintage and things like that. That would really create the whole little cafe thing, and then that starts making.
We have a consignment place, but unfortunately, she's going out of business.
Did that change hands? Because I thought I saw it.
Yeah.
She went out of business and now it's a new business.
Yeah.
Different sign.
Oh, so there's business.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's-
Along the same lines.
Yeah,
but it's
oh, well,
different.
that's good.
So-
Yeah.
It says thrift surplus.
So good points about all the kinds of businesses that we could bring in that would bring in more community engagement. Well, I think that's like, if you have to have a big take home from here, that's kind of our big yearning to, to get these kinds of businesses in.
I think that the chamber is completely in unison with that same craving. I think the problem is we are a ragtag band of volunteers,
Right.
as are you guys. And so it's just hard to find enough hours in the day to, like, for example, Solano.
the head of the Merchants Association has a full-time job being the head of their Merchants Association. He gets paid for it, that's what he does. And, you know, I mean, I run a business, which is more than a full-time job, and then being the president of the chamber adds to that, and so I need help. I mean, I definitely have big ideas and things that I'd like to see, and my frustration is things happen very slowly.
So, I mean, I think we can just add to this that the chamber, you know, the chamber is a community organization. It's not just a collection of businesses. It's a community organization that has, you know, the same passions that the Green Team and the Spawners and similar organizations have, and they welcome volunteers. And if you work with a chamber of commerce, you're working for the community.
You can also join as community members, it's significantly less expensive. Yes.
I wonder whether there might be some mileage to be had by surveying people in El Sobrante and saying, would you be willing to support this kind of business, to give people who are thinking of setting up a cafe? It's like most people never even think about coming to El Sobrante, but if we had, look, we've done some market research for you.
Yeah, we could survey pretty much everything this side of the freeway.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be El Sobrante, but people that are likely to come to Appian Way and San Pablo Dam Road and Valley View, or, you know, wherever we have businesses. If anyone knows a way to get surveys out and filled out and back, that would be appreciated. The best way to do it, you know, short of knocking on everyone's door and then people
There's things
probably.
like Survey Monkey.
Well, survey monkey, but then you have to have every.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Chris has his word out. So,
Chris?
Yeah, thanks, thank you again for your presentation and some good work and all the other community work you guys were funding, this project. I just think that I've talked to Dorcas before about that. I think that we can get the Green Team to give support to the flower pot. I think that we like the idea of downtown. A lot of us are in the gardening and stuff like that anyway. So we would like to
Build the jardinières.
yeah, exactly. Because the businesses are having a hard time handling. So we can maybe get some support for that. So I just want to make sure we offer that.
That would be wonderful, and if you put plants in and then show the merchants that
take care of it.
when it's hot, you wanna water this 3 times a week, and in the winter, don't worry about it, it'll take care of it, and get more native type of plants that grow in our environment where you don't have to water it constantly or anything like that.
And then we can just check in and if there's something going on with the plant, how we got out, so you know.
And yeah, that would be awesome.
So, what I'd like to propose is that we thank Nicole for presenting about the Chamber of Commerce.
I second
Yeah. And
Just scroll, and also coming back from Oakland where I just had the most boring 8 hours of continuing education in my life.
the drive home.
so, you know.
The traffic was really bad.
And I guess what's the best way if citizens want to contact the chamber? Just go to the webpage, Chamber of Sobrante, and go.
Yeah, that's typically the best way. I can leave some of my business cards if anyone needs me directly.
What is your business?
My business is US Financial Mortgage.
Okay.
So while Nicole collects her business cards, I think we can move to the next few items, which are discussion items, development plans, variance report, modification request, review, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The first item is county file number CDSE 323-00010. And the applicant, so this is the ASF&O building. It's on the corner of San Pablo Dam Road, El Portal. So this is that little office building that's on the,
What's the street from the gas station?
it's across the street from the Shell station.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be on the southeast corner. And so what they're requesting to do is remove 3 of, at least the best that I could understand this, and I don't know if the Carl Roach, the architect, is available. But as far as I can understand this, they are proposing to remove 3 street parking places and replace those with 2 ADA compliant spaces. And in doing that, they'll need to demolish a storage shed and an outdoor patio area. So is Carl Roach here? I mean, I'm not sure.
It's off-street parking. Right, it's talking about off-street parking.
Yeah.
Not on-street parking. There's no
This is
off-street
to
parking.
create off-street parking.
No, it's a deviation to the off-street parking to allow the off-street parking space from
Okay.
3 to 2 ADAs. So the spaces are already there presumptively, that's what it's.
So what they're doing is they're taking 3 of their required parking spaces, off-street parking spaces, and replacing those with 2 ADA compliant spaces.
Right, that's what they wanna do.
Yeah,
Please, with how many off street?
No.
There are no off-street right there, that's on El Portal.
Yeah, it's right next to the
Yeah.
space, right next to the, it's on
Yeah.
the portal, but it's, there are a couple of
Yeah.
spaces right there.
Yeah.
Those 3 spaces.
So at the moment, if you're disabled, it would be a nightmare to
No,
get there.
terrible, yeah. Yes,
so basically, there's very little parking there.
right.
And so what they're planning to do are remove 3 of the very few parking spaces, because I've tried to park there before. 3 of the very few spaces and replace those with 2 ADA spaces. And I'd have to say I'm for that, because if it's hard, if you're not disabled, having to park, if you have a business in that building and having to park some distance off when you are disabled, that's a super inconvenience. So I would make a motion to approve this, or to give our
I'll
support.
second.
Yeah, and apparently there's a structure there too, right? There's just-
Yeah, they can take.
So they have to take
More
that.
space, yeah, they have more space.
I'm a tiny bit surprised that there's no diagram because.
Right.
Well, I'm horrified that it cost $1,000 to get a permit to do this.
Yes.
So sometimes when we have our agendas, usually the projects have whole maps associated with them. There was nothing. But I think overall, it's a good thing to give disabled people
Yeah.
better access to that building.
Especially considered probably.
So it's, there are a bunch of different businesses. There's a property management place, there's a notary place. There are various white collar type businesses.
So we have to take the vote on the motion.
Okay, I motion
No, we
to,
already did the motion, we
Okay.
have to vote on it. All in favor of Tom's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, abstention, it carries. There you go.
okay,
Mind you, with the.
so you can put that in the minutes that this agenda item, the back supports it.
Yeah, that will be.
So that takes us, so we've done with that. So that takes us to CDLP 23-02003. So I don't know if folks remember back earlier in the year, we talked about the Center for Elders Independence.
Yes.
And we enthusiastically supported.
Yes.
So it's made another appearance here. And I think maybe you could, Ronnie, explain how that came about, because we already discussed this and gave community support to it.
That was more than likely my mistake in crafting the agenda. There is a notice of public hearing for September 18th at 1:30. But nothing has changed in regards to.
Okay, so in that case, I think that.
We'll just announce there's a public meeting on
Yeah,
September
so there'll be a
18th.
public meeting about this for the planning department on September 18th. I would say, I'm still in favor of that
Oh,
project.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a great.
so I think we can just say that the MAC continues to give its thumbs up to this.
Unless Springtown wants to come back.
There is.
Yes. All right, so that
So many
takes,
other buildings.
That's
that
right.
just wasn't noted when they.
The senior center is the one that.
Was it in the agenda?
so earlier,
Where's it at? Hanging over the thrift house. Oh, hanging over thrift house. Yeah, there was some guy that was manufacturing something.
well,
They
No,
did do it.
he's, Jim's right, because it was gonna be like somebody apparently was gonna turn into like a logistics center.
Yeah, something. like that.
And I guess that didn't work because now we have this instead.
Yeah. And
which
this
I
is
think is
better.
So yeah, it's like
really useful. So we can go to our next information reports by MAC members. So I just want to add an information report. Well, I guess it isn't really MAC related, so I won't.
Okay.
I'll leave it for public comment. So I think we can just move to subcommittee reports.
So, cleanup and beautification subcommittees in partnership with the Green Team. And, so what we have planned is we're gonna be at the stroll. Hopefully everybody will come and buy our booth and pick up some information and cheer us on in the parade. And we hope to once again show our community spirit and get recognize for that. But anyway, so that's Sunday. Everybody should come to the stroll. Lots of fun.
And it's not gonna rain this year.
And it's not gonna be it's not gonna be extremely windy either.
Or extremely hot.
But we're gonna be, we'll have our booth near California Thai and next door to Spawners, and hopefully close to the map. I think we're pretty close.
Yeah, you're.
A couple, we're 19, we're 121. So that's good, because so Sue and I can go back and forth between the two. And then the following, we're getting ready for the coastal cleanup day, our local coastal cleanup day here. If you don't have a flyer, please get one, and if you need some extras to pass out to your friends or neighbors so that they can join us as well. September 23rd, 9:30, stage from this library. We'll register people and check out equipment. We'll have gloves, bags, vests, grabbers, buckets, everything you need to clean up. And this is in partnership also with the spawners. That's going to be identifying a couple creek sites. So they'll need volunteers to help clean up those creek sites. And we're going to identify different places around town to clean up the litter as well. And also we're working with SOS Richmond that will also be bringing bags to the homeless encampments nearby and hopefully picking up trash, and they're going to help us collect bags because we're going to have a dumpster here, and that's until about 11:30 or 12. People clean up, help us do that, make El Sobrante clean and beautiful. And the reason why it's a coastal cleanup day and we're connected is because the litter in the streets and the creeks make their way out into the oceans, and it's not good for the ocean life and the health of the ocean. So we want to do our part and also build community in our town with an event afterwards. By the way, the library is in partnership with us too, and they're going to have some special book displays and sign up people for library cards as well. And Sue is going to lead a children's activity. This is starting at 11:30 till 2. And we're gonna have a band, Stone Trout, who will be playing this year. And we'll have some info tables and speakers and some food from our partners that are donating some food, like Neighbors Donuts and Starbucks and bottles. We're gonna have some Indian food this year and the Sikh Center. A little bit, samosas, we'll have some samosas, mostly pizzas. Don't get that excited. Mostly pizzas, we'll have, but, and the Sikh Center actually is donating, chai tea, which is wonderful, and some other snacks, they said. And then Mountain Mike's and Chicago Pizza with Express, I hope you will, you know. Go and buy pizzas from them because they give back to our community, so if you patronize them, that's a good thing. So please come and join us, to help clean up and make our town. We've noticed that lately, it looks like the litter has been ticking up. We're not going to have a third Saturday cleanup this month because we're doing it the fourth Saturday for the coastal cleanup day. So those listening, don't come this Saturday. However, I know that the chamber is hoping that we'll have some volunteers to clean up before the stroll. But if not, I hope that the business owners will do their part and make their properties nice for the stroll, because I know that we're busy and we're all volunteers as well, and we welcome volunteers wherever we can get them, of all ages. And there's something that you all can do to help, improve our town in this way and make it cleaner, more beautiful, and attract more businesses that ultimately and just create a nice environment for where we live, because we all love El Sobrante and we make it the best it can be. So what am I missing? Anybody from the green team?
Any comments?
Yeah, if you have places to put them out, we'd like to make an outreach to any churches, any schools, any organizations, and associated with the
Community bulletin boards.
So,
Thank you, Nikki. Are there any comments or questions for Nikki? All right, in that case, thanks for your report. And in terms of agenda items and speakers for upcoming SMAC meetings, we have Michelle Reinhardt for the October meeting. This is the Contra Costa Fire. There's certainly a lot of demand to put an update on the noise ordinance onto the agenda, and Ronnie passed me an email from the Department of Conservation and Development, and they want to be on the agenda for the December meeting. So
Are they gonna finally give us our training?
Department of
Conservation Development, or is that Maureen Tom's? Which side of the department is it?
it's
Maureen Tom's.
no, it's not.
Oh,
It's Joe and Marie Ricasata. And they want to talk about the Envision Contra Costa 2040.
yeah, the 2040 plan. So it's from the planning side, not from the,
From the planning side.
it's not from the business, it's not from the building department side.
So any other suggestions about future agenda items?
Maybe in December. Maybe in December, an update from what would be my former employer, East Bay Mud. Yes, yes, congratulations, thank you. So just on work here, any updates that they have on what they're doing at the treatment plant or?
So should we would you suggest that we reach out?
Yeah, for just, having come December, because when were they last year?
They were here last meeting for a long time,
Oh, yeah, that's,
the treatment plant.
okay.
And about halfway through, I realized I was gonna be dead before this is done, so.
That's true.
I got a little bold.
I would just say, just to reach out, see if they have anything for us, for upcoming December.
Right, that'd be good with you.
That's all.
Okay, so I think we can move on to public comment. I'd like to make the first. Oh, George, did you have something you wanted to add?
You can make the first one, I'll make the second one.
I've
Yeah,
got a
sorry.
third thing real quick.
So we'll just do quick public comments from the council and then just pass it to the audience. I know folks have a lot on their mind and eager to let us know their thoughts. Okay, so I'm on one of the threadbare, bedraggled team of volunteers that puts together the El Sobrante stroll. It's Sunday. Road closures start at 7 a.m. But the stroll opens at 10. And with our parade at 11, it's going to be amazing this year. we're gonna have something like 6 bands. Something on the order of like 17 different food booths. Pretty much every available space for booths, you know, from businesses, nonprofits, you know, all these businesses and nonprofits we love in our area, they're all gonna be there. It's gonna be a classic car show. There's gonna be a BMX bike show. It'll be between 10 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. You know, don't miss it. I mean, it's something that's completely distinct from the Solano stroll. And
No comparison.
there's no comparison.
No comparison.
And the,
So many
well,
questions.
the Solano stroll is cool. This is just as cool in its own way. So please come. It's our great unity block party.
How many booths have been registered?
Geez, I mean, I don't remember the exact number, but it's like 100 something. I mean, it's just, we literally have every space taken up.
That's 100.
152, something like that.
Parking.
Is
I
hard.
need that for the park.
So we have a shuttle service.
Oh, for the Moose Lodge?
Either from the Moose Lodge, or you can go to the park and ride.
On
On Hilltop. So we have and that's the Center for Elders Independence is providing us with a shuttle service.
Okay.
So you see their new shuttle buses. So one of them will be making the circuit between 10 and 4. And yeah, so you can pick it up there at the park and ride or at the Moose Lodge.
Will we have members from the MAC at the MAC table? Who's gonna be there?
I'm gonna be on top, so.
It's Sunday.
We didn't know you.
Reverend
Well, so the MAC table and the county table are kind of one and the same.
Oh.
So Ronnie, you'll be there at the stroll.
That's interesting.
So we should have, you know, we'll have informational materials about the MAC there. And I'm kind of running around doing things during the stroll, but I'll try and be there for at least part of it. So that's just my point. George, do you have?
Well, it's about that and about the noise ordinance. The first thing, you know, I mentioned former employee. I work for East Bay Mud. I've been there for 28 years. I'm retiring in 2 weeks. But we will be present at the stroll. Our water conservation department will be there, and I believe WOW will be there, which is Water on Wheels. And that's a cool thing for everybody. You know, just for the water bottles, the kids love it. About the noise ordinance, I want to say that my comment about next door was about next door, not about the problem with the noise. I am well aware of the problem with the noise. If you, now that you know where the meetings are located on the website, they are recorded and you can listen.
I've addressed that problem several times.
I'm actually not speaking to you, sir, directly.
When you look at it,
I'm not really speaking past you. As I was saying, the meetings are, thank you, the meetings are recorded and you can listen to what we've all said about it. Because in addition to your concerns with the noise, we all on this council are having issues with noise. Whether it's during the day or during the night, or there's music from my next door neighbor, which is the Memorial Park, where people blast their music on computers and my house shakes. Or whether it's during the middle of the night and somebody decides they want to use it for target practice and blast their guns and make noise. Rolling Hills Memorial Park. So I'm next door, and so yes, we all are aware of the noise, and trust us. We want that noise ordinance just as badly as you.
We're not doing it.
Because as John will tell you, it is a difficult project. There's no noise ordinance in the county. And anything that has to be done for El Sobrante, it's not like we can make a rule for El Sobrante. It has to be countywide. So it's a multi-district thing. It's not something that can happen overnight.
5 years ago, I approached John Joya with this issue. He told me if you could find a county ordinance anywhere in the state of California that he would enact one for Contra Costa County. My son went online, he found one, he printed it up, I took it to Joya's office, nothing. 5 years later, nothing.
I've been addressing that for 3 years with John Joya. I've sent him copies of the Antioch on noise ordinance, specifically addresses what we're lacking here, the loud music. I've got neighbors that put loud amplifiers in their backyard, plays all hours of the morning. I call the police on it, I call the sheriff's department, they go out there, tell me all we can do is tell them to turn it down, because there is no ordinance to stop them. So we just need an ordinance on the general plan, so to speak, just put that on there. Adopt the Antioch's noise ordinance.
Or Richmond's.
It's already written there.
We should adopt Richmond's, in my opinion, since half the town is Richmond, and then you don't have. I know, but people, when you have Richmond, somebody who lives in Richmond right here and somebody who's county right here, we ought to have the same rules.
Yeah.
So I personally think that the Richmond ordinance is one we ought to adopt, because then it's less.
Well, you have to adopt something that addresses a lot of
I
music
agree.
and a lot of parties.
We agree completely.
You know, I love music, but you know, when you got your neighbors that, like I said, they got full orchestras in their backyard. Backyard is no bigger than half this room.
I know.
We got
I know.
And I would.
I know, mine is too.
It's frustrating because I'm aggressive, but Joy is not, with I'm aggressive to them, writing, phone calls and everything, and like, what's it?
We all have.
Joy referred me to Edgar referred me back to Joy. It's still like big damn stuff.
The MO is like, we will just, that's the MO, because I've dealt with him with other things too, including, well, that's another story, but I'll bring that up.
Okay, we need to focus on, so we.
I know
need to
that's
focus
actually
on
next.
ordinance.
It's still fun.
Okay.
About something else. Sorry, I was gonna make an announcement, so, we're so glad that, the coastal cleanup is actually on the 4th Saturday, and there's a 5th Saturday, because do come out, we've done a lot of work on the site, on the Good Table site, and so last Saturday, 12 to 3, come get a tour, we've done a lot of things, and that's really helpful. The other thing, and I have some flyers for this, if people don't have information about this, also, I just wanted to say that we are working now with John's office on getting our farmers market open before be open. And so this could happen fairly quickly. We've got a site in mind. We've got permission from the people on the site. We're now working on county approval. And so I'm very hopeful that we can get a farmers market happening before the end of the year. So can't tell you where, can't tell you when yet, because we don't have all the approvals,
So.
but we're working on it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Terry.
Thank you, Melinda. So I think what we'd like to do is perhaps there's a lot of concern here about the noise ordinance. And so I think what we want to do is focus our public comment section on this noise ordinance issue. If somebody else has something that they want to briefly cover before that, we can.
Let me say something, if you're going to say that you're disturbed by the noise.
Yeah, I would really like to bring something up to see if you guys can help us.
A guy that runs his motorcycle right next door
So
all the time.
there are people
So,
online
if you're
trying
gonna-
to talk.
If you're gonna say that you're
So we
bothered
need
by
to
the
get
noise, we're all bothered by the noise. All we need to do is to push as hard as we can on this committee. That's all we can do.
Hard to get.
Because
I
I understand.
Okay,
I
we can
did.
say that some teeth, so they can move these houses, say, look, we violated.
We know.
So we have, wait. So what we're going to do is we're going to recognize people one by one. People are going to get their 2 minutes to raise their issue. And we'll start off.
Judy's had her hand up for like 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
She jumped her.
So we'll start off with Judy Weatherly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure that you guys can really help, but I hope that maybe you can give us some advice. We live on Sheldon Drive, which is in Richmond, and we're on Wilkie Creek. And on the other side of Wilkie Creek is El Sobrante. Back in 1987, the property that we have been in for the last 30 years, they had a slide back in 1987, And this house, the one in El Sobrante across the creek and next door to us, all slid, and actually these two were actually condemned. But in the meantime, there's been a lot of work done in these two places. There was a tree that went down that caused that slide back in '87. There was a tree that went down this year in these rains and have blocked the creek, and we can't get anyone to deal with it. The county says Wilkie Creek is a private creek.
Yes.
And so they don't do anything. And we've gone to the neighbors whose tree it is that went into the creek. They're across the creek. They're in El Sobrante. And because they're on a private road, nobody will take any responsibility for this at all. Not even to tell them, even though there's a whole street of homes that over here in Richmond that are at risk for sliding, because in 1957 or 8, when these houses were built, it was all built on unengineered fill in terms of today's standards, and the compaction codes were also not up to grade in terms of today. So we're sitting on property that, if that water backs up, will just sink these houses. Who's going to take responsibility for that? And why can't someone at least go and talk to the homeowners? We've talked to them. They said that they're talking to their insurance company. It's like, you know, and what can we do? We can't even hire somebody to do it because it would have to go on their property. This is ridiculous. We pay taxes.
Okay, so Ms. Weatherly, I think at this
Yes.
point, what we can do is maybe we could set up a call between yourself, Supervisor Joya's office. I would be happy to join in.
We talked to them 6 months ago. I talked to them a
Then
couple of
all
days
we
ago.
can
I
do
talked to the
here,
county.
all we can do here is provide feedback to the county.
I can provide one little piece. Have you talked to Fish and Wildlife?
No.
Sometimes Fish and Wildlife will come out and look at things that impede creeks, even when they're private. And they might be able to assess it for you, and they might also be able to do something with the neighbors.
That would be really wonderful.
So go
Fish
to
and Wildlife.
California Fish and Wildlife. You need to go to the state one, not the federal. And I don't know anybody over there in this county, but try Fish and Wildlife, because it's about a creek.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. We'll do that.
It might
And
work, it
also,
might not, but it's something to try.
I know Ronnie's there, and I did speak to you a couple of days ago, and I expect that you're going to be bringing this up to John Joya and let him know that we have a street full of people in Richmond that need help, and somebody needs to talk to this homeowner and get something moving over there. We've provided the names, the addresses. Somebody else has got to do this. Sorry. We don't want violence to come from this, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I did make a note to follow back up with Supervisor Joya. So once I receive some sort of feedback, I'll definitely pass that along to you.
And thank you for writing to me. Thank you for writing to me, and please keep me in the loop as well.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. So why don't we, so there's a lot of desire to speak in terms of public comments, so why don't we make sure that we do one speaker at a time, try and keep to 2 minutes. All right, George is gonna time it, please.
I just have an announcement. I'm doing a benefit fundraiser for SOS. Remember I talked about it last month? So I got the flyers together, and I actually need to get my flyers. I have event tickets if anybody's interested.
Yes.
And I'm gonna read it. A benefit for SOS, Safe Organized Spaces. Dinner and auction at Uncle Chum's on Wednesday, October 4th, 6 to 9 p.m. Tickets are $50, tax and tip included. It's a prefix menu, and then there's going to be an auction and raffle. And we're still looking for good donations for the raffle and auction. Although we're getting nice things, it would be nice to have other nice things. So save the date if you want the tickets. My name and phone number is on the flyer, and I do need to get more. Chris, I need more numbers. Thank you.
We're going to.
All right.
So, please.
So, just, this is also an announcement, we're doing a chipping day, for, debris around houses at Clark Road. Has organized a Firewise community, and we're putting an application in to get support from the county. But one of the things we're gonna do is a chipping day on the 1st of October, so, it's gonna be up at the school, the former Waldorf School on the upper,
Wildcat Canyon School.
Wildcat Canyon School, yeah. And so if you have debris, please bring it, because our community, our Firewise community is kind of small, so we're not sure if we're gonna be able to keep them busy all day, so if you have anything, bring it up. And then
And that was, I'm sorry, could you just repeat the date?
October 1st.
Yes.
You know, you might wanna have a flyer to put out at our coastal Plymouth Day.
Okay.
On the table, so, or some kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
thing
make
to let
it
people know.
Great. And then a cut back to the noise ordinance, is there a way to keep this on the agenda? Because every month it's on the agenda, so it doesn't get lost.
Yes.
And then is there also from you over there, Ronnie, sorry, you're getting bombarded, but can Supervisor Joya bring sort of what are the barriers to getting this done? Because you said that there's a lot to it.
He brought them all last month and it was useful, not very helpful.
Is there anything that can be done about those barriers? I mean, I don't know what they are, but.
Well, I was gonna say that the MAC committee is an advisory. That's all our job is to advise the county through him, through his office. And we all get appointed by him, personally interviewed by him. So we can every month berate Ronnie with the idea that he needs to talk to John Joy about this. I'm gonna guarantee you that next year we'll be doing the same thing still again about a year from now. That every month, because it's not gonna go anywhere.
Unless we elect a new county supervisor.
Yes, or unless, I mean, because it's only an advisory committee, so it's not like we have any forthright.
But, I guess is there a way that we can organize differently? I guess is the question. Can we go to board meetings of the county? Can we make
Yes.
noise about
That is
it?
going to be the best way to do this, because it needs to be county-wide.
Right, yeah.
Well, can I just make a suggestion? I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was sitting next to our clerk recorder, O'Connell, at a meeting not too long ago, and I said, what is the problem with, why can't we get a noise ordinance? Not her job, right, but she serves in county government, so she says, I can't imagine why we can't get a noise ordinance, that makes no sense. She says, I'll start ribbing John about it. So I just think we need to find everyone that knows John Joy until every time they walk up. No, but that's my joke of it. I think, because it does have to be countywide, it might behoove us if some of us who like to do this kind of lobbying thing were to talk to the other county supervisors and find out what their objections are. Because my suspicion is that there's a political problem in there somewhere that he's not gonna tell us about, and we're gonna have to unearth it and do a little organizing. So more so than, because when you come and just do public comment as a board of supervisors, it goes in one end and out the other and into the minutes. But if you go actually talk to Fed Glover, what's his problem with it? Talk to all the supervisors. So I personally would be delighted to make appointments and go talk to them about it.
So I can probably add
And
to
the
that.
fact finding.
So I think we can add to that, one other aspect is.
Can ask other members
other
too.
maps. And so, we can contact,
I had lunch with East Richmond Heights already.
we can contact the people in other MACs, including MACs in the eastern part of the county.
Yep, yeah.
Right, and say, are you guys having the same sort of issues with noise that we are? I mean, ultimately, county government is going to respond to, public opinion. I mean, I've seen it happen, several times since I've been involved in things, since I've lived in this area. And I think, we've got to keep coming to the meetings, and as James pointed out, this is an advisory council. We don't have any power to do anything, but we are the conduit for public opinion to reach the Board of Supervisors.
And it's a very, and
Yeah.
a much easier political win in many ways than, for example, trying to deal with all of the animal issues, for example. This is a zero cost thing for our representatives to enact that is going to please, I would say, the vast majority of residents. If
Or
they-
we'll find out who else in the county is against this.
Exactly.
There's
And why?
somebody out there.
And why?
So let's resolve on the following. I think we should keep this on the agenda personally, and I'd be happy to put it on the agenda. You know, get an update, how's it going every month, and I think that we on the MAC can reach out to other MACs.
Yep.
And say, what's going on in your areas? I think Melinda has a smart idea, which is talking to other supervisors and asking, you know, given that there's wide support for this, why hasn't it happened?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think Melinda and Tom both have I have a property that's 2.5 acres and had a barn. And it was, when I bought the property, it was a barn. People had llamas, they had ponies, they had, horses. I don't have any, have a dog. Okay, but so I made the barn and renovated it and made it into really a beautiful place. And that's when Terrence was still John Joy as an administrative assistant. And it took me a year to get the barn approved on its size. Because the county said now it was oversized for this accessory building. And I said, wait a minute, it was here before I ever bought it. It was built in the 1930s, for God's sake. They said it was grandfathered when the law came in. Now you've changed it, so you got to still on that. And made it too big. It cost me a year and $52,000 out of my pocket. A battle, it's all the way to the Board of Supervisors. I will tell you now, John Joya came out with Terrence, paid the respect to me to come out with Terrence, looked at it, and he told me the following. He said, take it to the board, you're gonna have to go all the way. On the board, if it's in my district, there's no contingent aggressiveness by any other supervisor, because it's my district only. He says, if I say go, they'll all go green light. But if it's something that affects all of them, now we have to have the inner battle between us to all agree. That's exactly what they're saying, and that's what the problem is here. This is an all county thing. It's not just El Sobrante area or the area. So you have to go to all the other supervisors, give them all on this ticket. And I can't imagine that the other places in the county don't have the same noise problem. They have the same people with the same problems we have. I'm having noise and music and stuff next door. It's all happening. It just needs to get fixed, you know, but it's gonna take long.
So I've just asked Ronnie to send me a list of all the MACs in the county. And I'll go look them up and write their chairs. And we'll see if we can get this sort of pressure from all of this.
We could have a maximum effect.
Oh, yeah. It's closing in around 9 o'clock, and we've been at it for 2 hours, so maybe just finish up with the last few comments.
So I have 2 announcements. I think maybe a lot of you already realize that the hidden homeless on the hillsides along Penn Road are numbering up to 130 people. And they start fires, and we're coming up into fire season. And so what we're trying to do is find out what are the areas that are completely inaccessible by fire trucks. Those are the areas that the people that are in those areas need to move. They don't want to go to shelters, they don't want to go to hotels. And if you send the police in, that's when you get arson, that's when you get retaliation. So you don't go in with the guns and just bulldoze these people out. You have a negotiator go in who's got the experience, you can treat them with respect so they will cooperate. And so that they will move to a less dangerous area. That's the best we have right now because we don't have a solution. All we can do is move them to a less bad area. There's also a group that I'm involved with, El Sobrante for fire safety and homelessness. And we're having a town hall on October 21st. John Doyle is going to be there. And I would hope that everyone here would come. It's gonna be October 21st at the Unitarian Methodist Church.
Okay, I was wondering, do you think, if you have some material,
Yeah, let's say Sobrante Methodist Church.
if you have some materials prepared for a presentation, maybe you could get on our agenda for next month. And that way, you know, you get more than a 2-minute
Okay,
spiel and public comment.
okay. How many minutes of a video would you be able to watch? 5 minutes, 2 minutes?
I think something, you know, like a 10-minute presentation
Okay.
is
Okay.
perfectly good.
Okay, fabulous. And then, so he'll ask me to also tell you that on the 14th, the Firewise group is having a presentation at the firehouse. And they need some volunteers to hand out hot dogs. So if a couple people were available on the 14th for the Firewise.
What's the date?
It's on the 21st, which is the third Saturday.
So we have, Chris?
Yeah, thank you. I think this issue about this, how to change the kid ordinance is a unique opportunity. Because, what a simple way of doing it is you've got the different max. If you can have the max actually identify the people who are the spokesperson who are the most active on this issue in each of those communities, then create a network that will create a countywide petition. Then you go to the shopping centers, everybody you talk to is gonna wanna get on there too. And you could really make this spiral pretty quickly, I think, with, if we can just identify people in the core, all 5 districts who want to like take a leadership role of getting something going. And then use the max to bring the community together, because the max, you have the advisory capacity. But the idea of initiating can come from the community. I'm not talking about a voting initiative that's too expensive, but I mean, just like suddenly we have spontaneous countywide surge of support for this. I think that they would notice pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think that just in general, once there's a lot of public support for something, that will affect what supervisors do. And
I just want to briefly build on what Chris said and what all of you said. It sounds like there's Melinda said, an influence campaign, so who knows who? Like sometime doing a sociogram, like who knows who and who listens to who, so we could influence those people. Yes. Right? And then some getting people involved to do petitioning. But also when there's some momentum, like, you know, there's, after you talk to the max, get some media.
Yeah.
I mean, supervisors are politicians are susceptible to media. And so get a TV crew out there and say, look, all these people are, you know, having noise issues. Could we just, you know, have a noise ordinance in the county?
It's also a public safety issue, which I don't think people think about, because this one party in El Sobrante last weekend and weekend before, you have no idea how many neighbors were coming over there and calling the sheriff's department, and how many times the sheriff's department came out. All those resources were focused on a public nuisance instead of crime. And the financial aspects too. We didn't have enough sheriffs to begin with, and then for them to have to deal with these thugs. Sorry.
That's a good, that's
I'm wondering if it would be helpful to just make petitions in your neighborhoods of your neighbors, get them, you know, write up something, have all your neighbors sign with their names and addresses and phone numbers and email addresses, and submit that as well.
Well, let's try to get this coordinated and then we'll do that.
Yeah, I know, but you know, I put a little pressure.
We will.
yeah, I mean, that's
We're gonna
just
do it.
an easy thing to do. I mean, we know who they are, we just need to send them emails and.
And who knows what else we'll get out of getting to know the other max.
Yeah.
That might lead to all kinds of fun. Good trouble.
Well, I would like my 2 minutes. Okay. We've been sitting here patiently and hearing over and over again about this. So I'm not against the music. I like the music. My neighbor across the street occasionally has a mariachi band for special occasions. And it's not really amplified, but if you go one door down, it might be loud. Now, the house in question that we're talking about, it is 625 feet away from my house. And my back wall of my family room is vibrating from this noise. Betty here lives right behind the supposed house. I'm surprised she's not deaf.
I was vibrating the whole time. It was crazy.
And so all the houses in close proximity to this one house, their houses are vibrating. They can't watch the TV. They can't do anything. You know, but like I said, I'm not against the music, you know, within reason. These people were not reasonable. They were trying to be spoken to and reasoned with, but it got nowhere. And the sheriff showed up, they would turn the music down. 5 minutes later, the sheriff is gone and the music goes right back up. So, that's my 2 minutes. Thank you.
It isn't there, I was just looking up neighborhood nuisance stuff, and there is law around this, but I'm not sure if there's, well, it's a civil, it's a civil.
But there's also a criminal provision.
Okay.
If you can identify, being an attorney, I know this, but if you can identify the person's doing something intentionally to bother you, that's a criminal penalty. Okay, and it can be, the problem is you have to be able to have somebody enforce it. You're not gonna have the sheriff's department in Contra Costa County enforce it. They're gonna say, we can't do anything, there's no ordinance, because I've been through this. Okay, so you almost have to go beyond that from the criminal part. The civil part, you can bring a lawsuit, you can go to small claims court, you can bring a lawsuit, it's a nuisance under the nuisance provisions, and the judge can order whatever the judge wants to order at that point. So you're right, so. Yeah,
Does the sheriff's office know about that?
Yeah, the sheriff's office probably knows about the state criminal law.
We did not talk to the sheriff's department, they say we can't do anything.
No, because there's no county ordinance, so they're not gonna enforce it. They're not gonna do the criminal penalty part.
Right, I tried to get them using the Antioch ordinance, they said, we can't do it, we just go tell them, turn your music down, they say, yeah, sure, right, and that's it.
The county has to adopt it.
Yeah, the county has to adopt an ordinance for the sheriff to actually enforce something.
Okay, at what point can we get something where some information is which folks are doing to advise Joy's office to push something to get an ordinance on there? Cause I understand there's steps you gotta go through to get that put on.
You just heard what we're gonna do.
Yeah, so that's the whole
That's
point.
what we're gonna do.
Getting popular pressure on all of the supervisors through the maps.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
Well, like I said, I mean, the other people I probably have their ordinances in place, they're not gonna care. You know,
No, the other maps are also unincorporated. They're just like us. They're also unincorporated Contra Costa. And because it has to be county-wide, we have to build a county-wide pressure. It's not, that's why John Joy is not responsible.
Edgar told me that there's problems with the planning commission in Martinez. I called them up, and they don't know anything about it.
No, they have nothing to do with that.
They have nothing to do with us.
No, well, he told me that's where the delay was.
So what we have to do is address it from the point of view of the unincorporated areas. Richmond has ordinance, Antioch has an ordinance, now we have to get one, Knoll probably does, but now we have to get one that is for the unincorporated areas. And to do that, we have to get pressure from all of the maps.
Please keep this on your agenda.
We're going to.
We are going to.
Dealing with this for quite a while now.
I mean, we respond to, you know, community concerns as well, right? Our whole purpose is to convey community concerns to the county.
People tell me, go talk to your neighbor about that. I've done that, and if someone's gonna blow sometimes, and I said, why should I get, you know, that's what we pay the sheriff's department for, whatever. You know, so I really appreciate it if you guys get pressure.
Yeah, and thank you, sir, for you know, keeping the pressure on us and for bringing this up. And what I would like to do is maybe finish, have a couple of more comments and finish.
Can I have my 2 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I have never experienced this before, and these people have parties fairly frequently. And they have music, that's fine. And I ignore it, I double pane windows, half the time I can't even really hear it. But for the last couple of weekends, it was extreme, and they had like a guy out there on a loudspeaker, he was like a DJ or something, and they were doing this announcing, and then they'd have this music with this beat that was just making me vibrate in my own ears. And the speakers were facing my house, it's his backyard, it's my side yard, faces my house. And so
It just surprises me from what I'm hearing, that this has been going on for years, and I'm just wondering why, after hearing all this, why now? Why hasn't something been done for all this time? Why didn't we get together with the maps? Why didn't we put pressure on the council? I'm just curious. Can anybody?
I personally, I think it got worse during the pandemic. It did get worse during the pandemic. It's not just years, but the last few years have been worse.
Yeah.
Because people are staying at home and not going out.
From my perspective, I mean, I have the same, not as severe as what you have, but our house is in an area where for some reason we have some weird acoustic channel. So that things that are happening 10 miles away sound like they're next door. But I've been on the Mac since maybe 2016, 2017. And honestly, there have been issues about noise, but I haven't really heard it at this intensity since this year.
Right, because they don't do that, and that's what.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, but I also think people are not going to clubs because of the pandemic, and so they're bringing the clubs into their backyards.
And divide things.
And, well, exactly.
It's a form of trespass.
Well,
It really is.
So I mean, I think we have a lot of good input and we kind of have a plan for what we as a MAC can do to address it. So, yeah, so I'm thinking this probably is a good point to adjourn the meeting.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've had it myself.
so,
Go to the county supervisors meeting.
so, yeah.
List of the.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Gary.
That would be good.
I'll try to.